Hello. Okay, so I'm gonna make two videos right now, one each about the different career tracks I'm thinking about. So I'll give you a little bit of back history first. I am 21. I did a year and a half of community college, and I decided to take a semester off because I was tired and I wanted to work more, and I ended up taking a whole year off. And so now I'm trying to get motivated to go back to school, which I am very motivated to go back to school. I'm very bored with my life right now, and I think school will help with that a lot. So what I'm deciding is what I want to do when I go back to school. My first option is to be a teacher. I've kind of always wanted to be a teacher. When I started college, I didn't quite know exactly what I wanted to do. I was a liberal arts major. Took a lot of philosophy classes. I really liked that a lot, but I couldn't think of a decent job I could get as a philosophy major. So I decided I want to be a teacher. You know, I like that job. I've kind of always wanted to do that. So that's what I'll decide to do. When I go back to school, I'll change my major to early education, and I want to be an elementary school teacher. Up to middle school, I don't really want to teach kids older than that. I just interact better with younger kids. It's what I like better. I don't know. I like the idea of that, but I also have some concerns about that. Is one, being able to find a job. Right now the economy sucks, and it's kind of hard for teachers that I know of to find jobs. A couple of my cousins just graduated with early education majors in the schools that they interned for, or student taught, or whatever they call it. Asked them to stay on as like permanent subs until they could secure a position for them. They really liked them, but they just didn't have the funding for another teacher, and so they asked them to stay as permanent subs at their school. That way they still maintain the relationship, but I don't know, they just don't have the funding right now for teachers. So that's one of my concerns, is that it'll be difficult for me to have a job, or to find a job. Another thing is my appearance. When I go to interview for these jobs, I intend on presenting as masculine, not as male, but as masculine. I don't plan on legally changing my name, so I'll probably present myself as Catherine, which gives me away as a girl, as a bio female body, and so they would probably assume that I'm a lesbian. And technically they're not allowed to discriminate based on that, but they could just not hire me and not tell me why. You know, that's it's always a possibility. If I could maybe go by Kath instead, that might be a little bit more ambiguous and allow me a little bit more freedom. But then also my gender being ambiguous might also be a problem. What if they don't want to have to deal with that kind of stress at their school? So that's something else to think about. Then, what if I do get the job at the school, and let's say, ideally I want to teach elementary school, like 2nd, 3rd grade. What if one of them asks me, are you a boy or a girl? And what am I supposed to tell them? Whatever I want to tell them? Is there going to be like a standard appropriate line that the school tells me I have to say to that question? I would probably like to answer it just as neither. Does it matter? Probably doesn't matter. And maybe instead of having Mr. or Mrs., you know, you always call your teacher Mr. or Mrs., maybe I'll just have them call my last name instead of the Mr. or Mrs. Be a little bit less formal, but I mean, that's my type of personality anyways, so that might be kind of interesting. It would be kind of cool. But I don't want to answer these kids questions in a way that they're going to go home, tell their parents, and their parents are going to get mad at me and sue the school for, and cause lots of drama and problems. It's not right, but it could happen. It's a very real possibility, very, very real possibility. So that's another thing to think about too. That's also why I kind of started thinking about middle school kids, is because they're a little bit older, so maybe the parents won't get quite upset if I tell them something about my gender ambiguity, because they are a little bit older, less impressionable or whatever, you know. I think these kids are mostly conditioned by their parents anyways. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't really listen to my teachers too much about life advice. I mean, they always give you some sort of life advice. Not like very deep usually, but you know, something like be good people or teamwork or something like that. But I would listen to my parents about that stuff more than teachers. I thought teachers were stupid. Well, not necessarily. I don't want to be a teacher. But I had a few really good teachers, but I mostly didn't like my teachers that much. And teachers always liked me. I always had that kind of charm, I guess. I was a good kid, quiet, didn't cause any problems. That's what they liked about me. But yeah, so there's those few things to consider about being a teacher, is how kids will react to me, how teachers would react, how the administration would react. And it's a little bit different being genderqueer than being trans, because being trans, like a female to male trans person, I have certain legal rights that I could argue. I could also live more in stealth if I was fully transitioned, in which case it wouldn't be so much of an issue. Even as genderqueer, I could live semi in stealth, you know, just wear a binder and go as Mr. I wouldn't mind that too much if the school wanted me to do that, I guess. But I would feel better if they would just not make me choose Mr. or Mrs. Or make me live in stealth. That's kind of like forcing me in the closet, and that's not really fair. So that's what I'm contemplating about teaching. I really like the profession. I really like the career choice. I would be fulfilled. I like working with kids. I really enjoy working with kids a lot. I think it fits my personality. I don't care too much about making money. That's the first thing people always tell me when I say I want to be a teacher, like, oh, you know, they don't get paid very much, right? Yes, obviously, everybody knows that. I don't care. You know, I don't think money should be a motivator in the world at all, but it is. It's such a forceful motivator, I guess. Powerful motivator. I don't know. Not too fond on money. Yeah. So that's the deal with teaching. That's what I'm thinking about for that.